Hi folks, happy Friday. Another week goes by. I hope you've had a good one and that you have a relaxing weekend ahead planned. So what news from Scavenger headquarters? What did I read this week? I've finished The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham. Considering it's a short book, it took me a good while to get into it. More for lack of opportunity than because the story wasn't engaging. Wyndham's style is quite understated, rather British, very of its time. It's set in the fictional, very vanilla village of Midwich. There are hundreds, thousands probably of villages just like it dotted around the English countryside. Midwich Cuckoos is a slow-motion alien invasion story. One day everyone in the village falls unconscious, and anyone who tries to enter the village collapses on the spot, similarly unconscious. And then just as suddenly, a day or two later, that effect disappears and the folks in the village wake up. Bizarre, but okay, life gets back to normal, until one village woman after another finds that they're pregnant. The book then covers the impact of that bulk, immaculate conception, the arrival of the resulting rather odd children, and deals with the reality of their superior intelligence and their mental powers as they grow up. We don't know how the children came to be, who or what caused them to be, they just are, and they're a damn sight smarter than we are. The ending was fairly dramatic, somewhat in contrast to the pacing during the rest of the book. I enjoyed it and I'm happy to have added to my tally of completed Wyndham's. I do like his writing style, it's nice. After enjoying the first part of The Aftermath so much in January, I went back to that world again with part 2, Haven, this time by Adam Roberts. I still got a big kick out of it being set locally to me, that was fun. The story centres around a boy of 12 or 13, Davy, who suffers from epileptic fits. People, powerful people, are interested in him and he has no idea why, not a clue. There are Father John's people from up Oxford way, then there's the all-women community at Wickham, and then there's Daniel from Guz, who are out of the southwest but recently established a more local presence in the aftermath of a short but nasty civil war in the first book. There are hints of Davy having special powers, the ability to unlock a fabled weapons store under the ruins of a local RAF base. Davy himself can't understand it at all. What are they all on about? I enjoyed the banter and the creative swearing between Daniel from Guz, who for a while seems to be trying to protect Davy and the boy. And the all-woman commune at Wickham was interesting. We get a bit of their backstory. Davy's powerlessness and the mystifying reasons for his value to the powerful reminded me of John Truck in the Centauri device, the constant fleeing about and being passed from antagonist to antagonist. An utterly different setting, of course, but I think there are parallels. Anyway, I enjoyed Haven, maybe a tiny bit less than Shelter, but it was still very good. Next I read Bruce Sterling's debut novel, Involution Ocean, and the setting for this one is fascinating. The planet Null Aqua is basically dead, except for one large crater, which is 500 miles across and about 70 miles deep. And in that crater is the titular ocean, except it's not water, it's superfine dust, so fine that it behaves like a liquid. And there are aquatic creatures, all pretty vicious or large or both, and among them is the dust whale, the source of the narcotic flair to which our protagonist, John Newhouse, is addicted. John has travelled to Null Aqua to secure a supply of the drug, and he's joined the crew of a whaling vessel to do so. I really enjoyed the descriptions of the geography, which the scale of which is quite impressive. There are 70-mile high cliffs at the edge of the crater, and when you think about 70-mile cliff, that's really quite high. But also of the wildlife, the creatures of the dust ocean. And I also really enjoyed the frustrating relationship between John and Delusa, who's the winged lookout, an altered human on the ship. Or is she an alien? I can't remember. But anyway, she has wings. They quickly fall for each other, but wait. No hanky-panky for them because Delusa is allergic to humans. At the slightest touch, she breaks out into ulcers and boils. Any stolen touches or in one memorable encounter, a good kiss, are paid for later in pain and discomfort. There are other nice touches. The harpoons used for dust whale hunting are first loaded with human blood because that's poisonous for the whales. And the humans that now live on Null Aqua have developed extra big eyebrows and eyelashes, and moustaches too, which act as dust filters. For a very slender book, it's full of ideas, and it's very good. Although I did feel that the ending was a bit abrupt, and I might need to go back and reread the final chapter or two just to get my head around it properly. How about your reading this week? What have you been up to? Do let me know in the comments. I'm always interested to hear. So channel stuff next then. Subscribers are at 2,344, which is up 29 on last week. And if you're one of those new folks, I'm John. Welcome to the channel. There's plenty of back catalogue to watch. So have a browse and see what you fancy. and tell your friends. This week was a bit less fraught than last week. All the planned videos got done and posted without any last minute rush. On Sunday, I took a look back through the books that I read during January. There were 14 or 15 of them, I think. A really bumper month of reading. And I had a bit of fun tier ranking them on a grading system that I developed and declared a book of the month, which was Dark Eden by Chris Beckett. I may have been a bit measly with my ratings, but I wanted to leave plenty of headroom for any truly outstanding books that I read during the year and beyond. I reckon a 7 out of 10 is a good baseline. It means I enjoyed reading the book, it met my expectations. On Tuesday there was a book haul. I do love a book haul. I'm back in the game. There were some quality vintage book finds in that haul, worth your time if you haven't watched it yet. Yesterday there was a look at 10 more top-notch female science fiction authors, mostly but not exclusively writing in the 20th century. There's some interesting ladies in that selection and some even more interesting books, so check it out. I plan to do a follow-up at some point looking at the female writers of the last 20-25 years or so new on the scene in this century. Comment of the week was from Andy Lyon, who is not a fan of my new coloured backlight rig. He says it reminds him of being at school disco, and please can we have the old lighting back. School disco wasn't exactly the effect that I was looking for, I must say. But aside from the fact that I think it looks pretty cool, my old lighting rig was just daylight, or the usual ceiling lights that you get in any room, which made for quite a lot of variability in the lighting and some very badly lit videos. Now that I have the full lighting setup, I've got a key light, a fill light, and yes, the coloured backlights, I can record a video whenever I like. As I said in my response to Andy, I shall be sticking with the new lights, but it is true that I'm just experimenting at the moment with colour, with brightness, position and so on, and I won't always get it right. In general, I've had many more compliments than I've had complaints. Anyhow, thank you for your comment, Andy. Your remark about school discos made me chuckle. I'm hoping that the lighting doesn't put you off entirely. For the rest of you watching, let me know what you think of the lighting over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Is it better, good, bad, indifferent? All feedback welcome. On the all-important book buying front this week, it's mostly been an online affair, so there hasn't been much in-person book browsing. I've added a few hardbacks to my shelves, 3 or 4 Adam Roberts books, an Adrian Tchaikovsky, a Christopher Evans, plus a few paperbacks I found in the Oxfam near my office at work. Naturally, you're curious to know which books exactly, and I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. You'll just have to wait for the inevitable book haul when it comes. What books have you been buying this week? Let me know. There's safety in numbers, after all. And whilst we're on the subject of books, I got an email from Sean Wilson a few days back, who is a viewer of this channel, who has a book out. He was able to get it printed, funded via a Kickstarter campaign at the end of last year. I must say that the hardback does look rather handsome. The book is called Drowning Earth, and it looks like it'll be the first of 4. It's set on Earth a few decades in the future and involves the skipper and crew of a future tech submarine. I'm getting definite Honor Harrington vibes off the brief description on Sean's website, with perhaps a bit of added Sequest DSV, if you remember that TV show. I'll put the link to his website and the book in the description, so check it out and buy a copy if it floats your boat or your submarine. Alright, let us take a look ahead. On Sunday, possibly Monday, if I don't get it done in time, there will be another video in the space opera series, this time looking at the 1980s. Many of you have already given me some suggestions, but if there are any other books from that period that fall into the space opera category that you think that I should be looking at, do let me know as soon as you can. On Tuesday, I'll be doing something. It'll either be a triple pack review or possibly a compare and contrast of 2 books that I've read recently. I haven't quite made up my mind yet. Something along those lines anyway. On Thursday, if time allows, I'll be taking a look back at Dune Part 1, the Villeneuve movie from 2021. What, me? Jumping on a bandwagon? No, more like jumping on a sandworm. Reading wise, I'll be finishing up Gateway. I'm about a third of the way through. I'm indulging in a read along over on Whitney's channel, Secret Source of Storycraft. If you don't know her work, then you should check it out. After that, I will be jumping into The Empire of Silence, which is the first book in the Sun Eater series, and that's a bit of a chunky bugger. It's about 600 pages. I shan't be committing to any other books for this coming week, or not yet, so I'll see how I get on. I might dip into Deathbird Stories though, just for the giggles. I think this is the 5th of these weekly videos, so tell me, what do you think? I guess if you're still watching, you're a self-selecting sample. Not only did you click to watch it in the first place, but you stayed right to the end too. Is there anything else that I could usefully include in these little updates? Should I continue to do them? Anyway, as always, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and until next time, goodbye for now.